everyone. Today I will tell you a story. The story is titled, The Cat Who Steered Clear of Technology. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you appreciate me. You can skip this if you don't like this video. Thank you very much. The story begins as follows. It was a quiet Saturday afternoon, and the house was calm, with only the soft hum of the refrigerator and the occasional chirp of birds outside filling the air. I was sitting on the couch, laptop open, happily scrolling through the endless maze of social media, catching up on emails, and binge-watching my favorite shows. The world of technology was at my fingertips, and I was in my element. But, as always, I wasn't alone. Whiskers, my beloved feline companion, was lounging lazily on the windowsill, her eyes half closed in that content, sleepy manner that only cats seem to master. She loved to sunbathe by the window, basking in the warm glow of the sun, completely at ease. That is, until I decided to introduce her to something she had yet to encounter, the dreaded, mysterious world of technology. As I clicked and typed, I could feel Whiskers' gaze on me. Her ears flicked back, and she squinted in my direction. There it was, the beginning of a new chapter in our relationship. She was intrigued, but also suspicious of what I was doing. Her eyes darted between me and the glowing screen, her tail flicking nervously. I couldn't help but chuckle at her curiosity. She had never really paid much attention to the laptop or the phone before, but now it seemed as though she had discovered a strange new world that was both fascinating and terrifying. I reached out and tapped the trackpad, causing the screen to shift. Whiskers jumped slightly, her body tensing, and she quickly retreated to the back of the couch, staring at me as if I had just conjured some magical, unknown force. I laughed softly, knowing that, despite all the technology one took for granted, Whiskers was having none of it. "Oh, Whiskers," I said, "it's just a laptop. No need to be so dramatic." But Whiskers wasn't convinced. She remained perched at a safe distance, watching me with a mixture of confusion and wariness. I thought it would be a fun idea to show her the wonders of the digital age, but I quickly realized that my cat was far more old-fashioned than I could have ever imagined. The next day, I decided to try a new experiment. I'd give Whiskers the full experience, this time with my phone. I could already hear her meowing in my head. Oh, great. Here we go again. Sitting on the couch, I opened a video of playful birds chirping and fluttering about. I gently placed the phone in front of her, hoping to catch her attention. Whiskers, of course, was initially more focused on the shadows of the leaves outside the window, but when the chirping sounds filled the room, her head snapped up in surprise. She stood on all fours, her body stiff, eyes wide. The sounds were familiar, birds, the creatures she loved to watch from the window, but the source of the sounds was coming from this strange, small rectangular object in front of her. I watched in amusement as she slowly leaned forward and tapped the phone with one delicate paw. To her surprise, the screen flickered and the birds on the screen moved. Whiskers jumped back as if the phone had just let out a loud roar, her tail puffing up like a fluffy cloud. She quickly scampered to the other side of the room, a wide-eyed expression still frozen on her face. It was as if she had just encountered a wild animal and was deciding whether it was friend or foe. I couldn't stop laughing at the sight of my cat, who, despite being brave enough to chase after real birds outside, was thoroughly terrified of the digital version. I even tried to lure her back by playing a video of a squeaky toy, one of her favorites, but that only made her more cautious. She wasn't sure if this toy was going to leap out of the phone and bite her. "No, Whiskers," I chuckled. "You can't catch it through the screen." But Whiskers wasn't buying it. With one last suspicious glance at the phone, she turned her back on it and sauntered off, clearly deciding that this was not a world she was meant to be part of. Despite my best efforts, it became clear that Whiskers had no interest in technology. She made it a point to avoid any gadget I tried to show her. If I picked up my phone, she would walk away. If I opened my laptop, she would jump onto a higher surface and glare down at me from a distance, clearly unamused by my attempts to bridge the gap between the old world and the new one. One evening, after I had been working on my laptop for several hours, I decided to take a break. I walked over to the kitchen, and when I returned, I found Whiskers had taken up residence on my laptop. She was sprawled out comfortably across the keyboard, looking up at me with a calm, satisfied expression. I couldn't help but laugh. It was as if she had made a statement. This technology business is just too much for me. I'm reclaiming my space. At that moment, I realized that no matter how many attempts I made to introduce her to the wonders of Wi-Fi and social media, Whiskers was perfectly content with her simple, cat-like life. She didn't need the distractions of smartphones, social media, or streaming services to be happy. The sunbeam by the window, the sound of birds chirping, and the occasional game of chase with a stray sock were all she needed. And so, life returned to normal in our little home. I continued to enjoy the digital world, while Whiskers went on with her blissfully analog life. She didn't need to know about the latest apps or the fastest Wi-Fi speeds. She had everything she needed in the cozy corners of the home we shared, and that was enough for her. As for me, well, I couldn't help but admire her simplicity. Whiskers had taught me that sometimes the best way to live is to keep a little distance from the hustle and bustle of modern life. And perhaps, just perhaps, I should take a leaf out of her book and turn off my phone a little more often. From that day on, I promised to give Whiskers more space from the chaos of technology. After all, she had made it clear that, when it came to gadgets, she preferred to steer clear of them entirely.